Welcome to Business Class. I'm Steve Ekstrom from Learn Tourism, a nonprofit academy dedicated to advancing the tourism industry through innovative training and sustainable practices. Our mission? To empower travel professionals and communities with the knowledge they need to create meaningful, authentic, and sustainable tourism experiences. Ready to join us on this journey? Visit learntourism.org and start making a difference today.
Yeah, I think let's go with the flow of conversation. I will tell you, I like it when I talk about me or my path or things. I definitely want it to be meaningful for people, but it's a harder conversation than versus when I'm speaking specifically about Orlando. Denise was helpful with the prompts, and I went through and tried to bring some stories in. Let's just see how it goes.
Okay. Well, I'll start with you introducing yourself.
Well, Casandra Matej, President and CEO of Visit Orlando, and I've been part of the travel and tourism industry for over 32 years, mostly in the destination management or marketing organization space. I have also held some positions with Hyatt Hotels and then what once was Starwood Hotels and Resorts, but now, of course, part of Marriott. Been in the industry all of my career.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
That's a hard one because I feel like I found the right industry for me. I think hopefully my talents, but also my interests, right? Because I think about what other career could I really have seen the world. My kids always talk about how I have friends all over the country, if not all over the world. And I've been able to assist and help my communities wherever I've lived. And so really, I think about that when I think about maybe retirement, maybe working at a spa and welcoming people. But again, that's part of the industry, right? Hospitality. So I feel like I have definitely been in the industry, which was a good choice for me.
So you've received quite a few accolades for your work. Woman of the Year, Most Powerful People in Orlando, Businesswoman of the Year. Did you ever think you'd be such a big deal?
While I think sometimes the CEO receives those awards, I've always been working with talented team members. And when I think about the Visit Orlando team, they are the best in the country of what we do. And so while, yes, sometimes these awards are given to Cassandra Mate, I really do believe it's a whole organization honor. Looking back, as I think about I literally started in this industry right out of college. And I think about that 22-year-old versus the mid 50s today. That did I ever think that? No. But I go back to, I think it's about the why we do. And if you're passionate about it and you're diligent, hopefully your efforts and your team efforts are rewarded.
What advice would you give that 22-year-old?
Well, I wasn't as intentional. Like when you look at my career path, that you would think that it was very intentional of some of the moves that I made and the doors that I walked through. I really think one of the pieces of advice is around networks, right? That definitely, I mean, even as a mom of two teenagers, I always talk about birds of a feather, right? Flock together. And so I do believe the intentionality of networks and making sure that, people that believe in you and give you that opportunity, ask them questions and be inquisitive throughout your entire career path, I think is very important.
Surround yourself with people who inspire you to be better.
That's right. That's right. And because they're setting the example, right? But I will also say, I would tell myself back then and in a young professional today is you're going to learn from good and frankly, you're going to learn from bad examples, right? Like, I mean, I think about some of the directors or leaders that I've had in my career path and equally so, I learned from some of their really good examples and just their personalities and seeing how they could inspire a team. But I also learned, hey, if I ever have the opportunity to lead a team, I know some of the things that I would never want to do. And an example of that was I had a director that liked to brush things under the carpet, and it would take forever for this person to make a decision because hard decisions weren't easy for this person, but it had a domino effect on the team, right? I learned that just because somebody on the team in their own right, in this particular example, they were an excellent salesperson, but yet they weren't a good team member. And I think as a leader, sometimes you've got to make a decision. Is having that really great salesperson worth them impacting the entire team negative? I would say no.
Who do you look up to as a role model?
I really like industry specific. I think about the women leaders that came before me because even today, somewhat we've grown. When I think about the DMO space, we've definitely grown. I look at the leaders. There's now a female leader in New York, Seattle, Boston, Chicago, Orlando. When I had my first CEO role in 2011, at that moment in time, I was the only female CEO in the top 50 markets in the US. And I think that's important because, but I look at people like a Deborah Sexton, right? When I think about her pathway, and she wasn't the president and CEO of Choose Chicago back then, but she was the number two. And she was the point person, right, from Chicago. And I think about all the challenges that she had to go through. And then she ended up leading the Professional Convention Management Association. And so in her own right, she has definitely been a trailblazer for a lot of women in the industry. And I even think about women even before that, that in some ways they had to behave like a man versus now you can be a female leader and be proud of, like, I am a working mom, right? There are times I have to choose my family over maybe going to an event as an example. And I think there probably was a point in time that that would not have been acceptable. But I'll tell you who kind of inspired me for that was during my time at Visit San Antonio, I was there 10 years as the CEO. I had 3 mayors, but the second mayor was a female mayor. And I noticed she would bring her 12-year-old to a lot of community events. And I just thought about that is so great. And she's saying something by doing it, not only exposing her daughter to all of those things, but it also gives the rest of us permission and that it's okay. So those are type of people that truly inspire me because they led in a different pathway. So that's how I would answer that question.
And if you could pick 3 words to describe your leadership style, what would they be?
Well, I've thought about that, and I'm a very collaborative leader. That's first and foremost. That's how I lead. An example, when I first came to visit Orlando, we did not have core values. And so it wasn't me that led that. I saw a gap and I saw in me, but really we got a group of team members together and they ran that whole effort. Or I feel like you're much more successful as an organization when you collaborate. So right away, my partner, Tim Giuliani, who leads the Orlando Economic Partnership, we met and we decided it was time that we would launch brands of all of Orlando. So not just tourism and not just the business community. So now we have one shared voice. And so it was through a collaborative nature. And I would also say, looking back at some of the crisis moments, such as leading through a pandemic, if I wasn't a collaborative leader, I don't think we would be at the recovery that we are today. You know, it took us collaborating with Orange County. So from the municipality standpoint, other businesses, our industry, to make sure our destination was open, ready to receive conventions, ready to receive visitors. So I think the first would be collaborative. I'd like to think I lead with compassion. I'm a compassionate leader and authentic leader. I would hope that my team would describe me as that way, because it's okay to admit when you have made a mistake as a leader. And I think it's important because no leader is perfect. Along the way, you may make mistakes. And I think if you, whether it's internally or externally, you own up to that. I think that that's important. So I hope that compassion tied with authenticity would be those other two words.
How does that differ from how your family might describe you?
Oh, very good. I would tell you my teenage, especially I've got a girl and a boy. And so it's really interesting because you, as a parent, you want them to have a better life than you had, whether it was as a child or getting them ready. My daughter is a junior in high school. So we are living the stress that these young people are living today, getting through their college journey applications, does their resume. And so I would tell you they probably would say that I'm not as compassionate because I can be very hard on them. And maybe in our house, I'm not as collaborative of a leader because at some point the parents have to make the decision. So that's probably where I'm a little different. But I try to be the same, whether it's personally or professionally at all times. So ultimately, who you see right now and who you're hearing from right now is the same person, no matter what, whether it's personally or professionally.
Who in your life are you most grateful for right now?
I would tell you my husband, when I look back, because it has been what I would tell you, a non-traditional journey, right? I actually, when I was able to get my CDME, which is the Certified Destination Management Executive Certification through Destinations International, I did a study and I did a paper on will we see more females leading in our industry. And so looking back at that, because we are non-traditional, right? My husband's moved with me for my role and my job multiple times. And so I'm grateful that he believes in me. Every time I would say either, hey, I think I'm going to look at this opportunity. He's like, oh yeah, we're moving. I mean, he already felt like he was my greatest cheerleader. But the fact that he would move with us and uproot our family for opportunities for me, which ultimately benefit our family, right? I would tell you I'm very grateful for him.
Do you say that as often as you should?
No. In fact, in my head right now, I was thinking he would be so surprised that I just said this.
What are two things still on your bucket list?
Well, there's a whole world to travel. So I think from that perspective, that is certainly, there's certain places around the world that I would like to travel to. You know, professionally, it's hard because they're short term and long term. And I think about, I'm very excited, like here at Visit Orlando, we helped bring together a big part of the community, whether it was from transportation to local government to industry, to build a destination tourism master plan. And so on my bucket list is more of that, helping create what the next version of Orlando will be, and really facing some of the topics around a robust transportation system, the next generation of our convention district, which we call iDrive, International Drive. So while that's bucket list, but I'm very excited about that. And that gets me excited and passionate and looking at the next several years.
What has been your greatest day at work?
Well, that is a real tough question. This greatest day, I mean, there's times that I will be, whether it's driving to work or at the end of the day, driving home, and I am filled with joy. And it's most of the time, because I feel like a role of a CEO is to either head off obstacles so your team can do their core mission, right? But I will tell you, because I know, especially in the DMO space, we don't own any, right? I don't own the convention center. I don't own a hotel or an attraction. We are our people, right? And so the days that, for example, for the last 3 years, we've been named a best place to work in Central Florida. And why is that important to me? Because it's a mix of excellence and results, as well as making sure we're taking care of our people. And so those are really good days for me because that is something that I strive for, right? We are trying to increase our business, make a difference for this community. And then at the same time, we've got livelihoods of people and family that work here. So when that can combine and then we're recognized for that, that is a really good day.
Before we dive back in, a quick word from our sponsor, Learn Tourism, the nonprofit academy, where we're dedicated to transforming the tourism industry with 4 key services: our cutting edge learning experience platform, which offers robust analytics and seamless updates, our custom course development, which ensures tailored learning solutions, subject matter experts who provide deep insights and valuable knowledge, and of course, our engaging speakers who are here to inspire and educate with impactful presentations. Discover how we can elevate your tourism education at learntourism.org. What change would you like to see in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
One of my think about lessons learned and things that I would give advice to people would be about don't be complacent and think about our industry. It's ever changing. And so, for example, at Visit Orlando and me, myself, this whole exploration of AI and when it can make us more efficient so we can be thinking about the future and what the consumer is going to be in the next the traveler in the next 5 to 10 years. So utilizing technology, but in a very personable way, I think is very important. So when I think about the industry right now, and one of our great team members said this, who is becoming an AI expert, is like, at this moment in time, AI is the slowest that it's going to be. So think about that from now for the next 10 years. And it's probably a bigger conversation about technology. But I think as an industry, what sets us apart is that hospitality and that personality and being able to customize things. And so we've got a responsibility that as we adopt some of this technology and utilize it, let's not forget that. So really, how do we lead the industry to making sure that it's still personable, but utilizing the technology to propel us to being efficient and even better?
I think, piggybacking on what you said, that AI gives us the space to be more personal,
Yes.
human,
Yes.
and some of the heavy lift off the plate. Is there anything I didn't ask that you wish I did?
Well, I think as far as my career path, I started thinking about that. And is that I look at different phases. And I think with people, the opportunity, I look back, there's a phase of opportunity and it can be through your whole career path, but don't forget to walk through it and it's okay. And then I also want to give people and let people know it's okay to have a blip in your career. I had a blip in my career where I worked for a company. I think it was less than 13 months, but I had a pain in my stomach driving to that office every day. And I left the job without having a job. And I never thought I would do that. And so I had to start over. And so what I want to tell people, it's okay to have a blip. And then you're going to have exciting times in your career. So again, it goes back to don't be afraid, be bold to walk through the opportunity and advocate for yourself. I would never have become in my first CEO role without advocating for myself and educating this particular headhunter who is become a very good mentor of mine. Had I not advocated for myself, I don't even think he would have given me the opportunity to interview. So don't forget to advocate for yourself.
Is there anything you'd like to ask me?
Well, what do you think the future of the industry looking at the next 7 to 10 years? What is your thoughts around that?
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the industry to stabilize its funding models.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, that's true. That's very true.
and as an industry, every 7 to 8 years or so for the last 25, there has been some sort of major world challenge, economic, COVID,
Geopolitical.
geopolitical, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that as an industry, looking for more ways to stabilize that so that we can show people that these are careers that are rewarding and engaging and fun, and fulfilling.
Well, I will say this, anyone that's aspiring or even thinking about a career path in our industry, there is something about it. I would not have been in recruiting for years. You get in your blood. I even think about my hotel days and I think about my hotel friends. It is part of your DNA and you make your friends. Many people have met their spouses. I think about Disney has a college program and I've heard many stories where 30, 40 years later, they're still very good friends. Make your friends. I think the theme that you've been focused on also is leading during adversity. And I think, especially in the DMO space, you're right. I look back at my career path, 9/11, pandemic, economy, weather, whether it was tornadoes or hurricanes or part of that. When you think about leading through adversity, what would you, as you've been talking through this series, what would you give me or any other leader advice?
When I describe our organization, I describe us as a learning organization first and foremost. And I think that embracing learning as part of culture allows you to be more innovative. It allows you to be more flexible and nimble and responsive. It allows you to welcome change and to find opportunity where others may see only challenges. I would say continue learning, be a lifelong learner.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely key. I think about the next generation that's going to be coming through the industry. Some of the jobs, we don't even maybe know what those jobs are going to be. Hearing that there's people that are using AI agents and putting them within their overall organizational structure and people actually, you're exactly right. I think lifelong learner and yes, there's times that you have to say no, whether it's for yourself or for your organization, but try to always approach things with having yes in mind or a well, maybe, and I just, because sometimes I think really good ideas can get kiboshed, if you will, with the word no. Instead, let's have a yes mentality.
We actually led a session at the DI Visitor Services Summit on using improv skills, yes, and
Yes.
to improve visitor experience.
Well, I'm glad you brought up visitor services. I know a lot of DMO space there. We used to have a physical center here in Orlando, and then during COVID decided to close it, and we've gone virtual. But I remember my first 8 months being here, and Orlando there's so much to do. It's very complex, and in some ways, possibly could be complicated to plan your trip. And so we're like, how can we elevate our visitor services professionals in a way? Because you can go to our website, you can go many of the theme parks website, but people get overwhelmed. And there are families that are saving 3 or more years for their great Orlando trip. And so we want to make sure they have effort. So we now have VIP services. We now have where you can talk to a person and help you plan your services. So it's just interesting because I don't think visitor services is going away. I just think that it's possibly redefined based on the market that you're in.
Any other questions for me?
I don't think so. I'd like to invite people to connect with Visit Orlando, whether it's going to our website and signing up for Tourism Matters, which is our weekly newsletter, or following me on LinkedIn or Visit Orlando and any of our social media channels. Talking about all these social media channels, how do you use them?
LinkedIn is great for networking and
Yeah.
for sharing a message and building community and for staying in touch. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years myself, and some of my best friends I've met through this. and folks that I met once 15 years ago that I would invite to stay in my house without question. So I think that that's a great tool. Instagram is great for inspiring people and inspiring
Yes.
travel and inspiring those quote unquote Instagrammable moments. Facebook is great for staying in touch with family members,
Yes.
and the rest of them, I don't have the patience for.
I get you. Some of them I have to be on just because of my kids, right? Kind of the making sure everything is safe and okay. But look at this. I remember when I first became a CEO, social media was just, and people were like, what? There's going to be physicians. And so it goes back to, I think, whether it's AI, social media, or whatever the next thing may be, we as a industry, we've got to embrace because I say embrace because they're not going to replace. It enhances everything that we do, right?
You learn to use the tools.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Visit Orlando.com for those that are looking for a trip. And Casandra, thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in to Business Class. This episode was brought to you by Learn Tourism, the nonprofit academy where we advance the tourism industry with cutting-edge training and sustainable practices. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to visit learntourism.org to learn more about our programs and how you can get involved. Until next time, stay curious, continue learning and making a difference through tourism.